Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the spoilers for Core Set 2021 that have come out today, that being June 16th. There are a ton of them today. If you guys don't know, today is the final day of spoilers for Core Set 2021. However, it's not the final day of spoilers, so tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, there will be Jumpstart spoilers, so I will also be covering those, so check back those days. So why don't we jump right into this? First we have Anointed Chorister. It's a 1-cost white creature, human cleric, 1/1 lifelink, and when you can pay 5 and it gets +3/+3 until end of turn. This is just meant to be a limited support card for the life gain theme. Next, we have Daybreak Charger. It's a 2-cost white creature unicorn. It says when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Just a generic card. It can give itself that if you really want it, but it's just meant to be a little bit of a boost. It doesn't have flash, so your opponent's going to see it coming, so meh. Next, we have Concordia Pegasus. This is a 2-cost white creature Pegasus, 1/3 with flying. This is still currently in standard, kind of just keeping it in anything that's printed here. A lot of the cards, at least today, are cards that are just meant to keep the card in standard. So this will just keep this card in standard. It's meh. Might see some play in Azorius Flyers, but not really because it's already in the game. Yeah, either way, Defiant Strike, it's a 1-cost white instant. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, draw a card. Very similar boat. This is in standard now. Only really sees play in feather decks, but feather decks aren't really a thing anymore. So yeah, just keeping it here in standard. Next, we have Dub. It's a 3-cost white enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has first strike, and is a knight in addition to its other types. Now, this is very interesting. So this was first printed in Dominaria, and knights were a thing in there, but we have actually had a pretty decent sized knight set with Throne of Eldraine that was pretty powerful. So this, I could see actually seeing some play. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I hate some cards that like say, oh, it becomes a knight in addition to its other types. Well, why is it in your deck if it's not a knight? Unless it's some really high synergistic card, in which case you have to make sure you're pulling both of those cards, otherwise this card's useless. So it is kind of still meh, but it is interesting. Oh, and also, by the way, when I say things are being printed to be kept in standard, they can also be printed for the limited environment. So just keep that in mind. Next, we have Feat of Resistance. It's a 2-cost white instant. It says put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So this is essentially God's Willing, except cost 1 more, but you do get a counter. So depending on the deck, this might be a better version of it, but generally only needing to save 1 white mana. One white mana is much easier than saving 2. So yeah, meh, I'd rather play God's Willing. Next up, we have Gale Swooper. It's a 4-cost white creature griffin 3/2 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn. So pretty good and limited in the idea that if you have this big creature, but your opponent has a Death Toucher, you can't swing, you throw this in, make it flying, hit for a lot. So yeah, not bad. In limited, of course. In standard, again, the only deck this could maybe see play is a Azorius Flyers deck, which really doesn't see that much play. But then again, why are you running non-flying creatures? So my point stands. Next, we have Legion's Judgment. It's a 3-cost white sorcery. It says destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Yeah, again, a limited card here. You'd much rather run Banishing Light, which allows you to just exile target non-land permanent, which is just better in almost every single way, except for the fact they can get it back. But yeah, this is just meh. Again, for limited, or meant for limited. Next up, we have Makeshift Battalion. This is a 3-cost white creature, so creature, human soldier, 3/2, and when it and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Again, pretty good limited. That's kind of the theme of today's video. These were actually all spoiled by Wizards because they're all that kind of just, they're just cards that need to be in the set. It's just important to know what cards are being reprinted, because if this card's in your deck, then it will survive rotation because it was originally printed in War of the Spark. Next, we have Secure the Scene. It's a 5-cost white sorcery, and it says exile target non-land permanent. Its controller gets a 1/1. Very interesting in the fact that it's just allowing you to exile target non-land permanent in limited. This is an amazing card. I mean, technically, you could exile your own thing if you need a 1/1 as like a last resort, but I like the design of this card. Not going to see any standard play, but I do like the design. Next, we have Staunch Shieldmate. It's a 1-cost 1/3, and it's a new card. And yeah, it's a 1-cost 1/3 generic creature. Next, we have Swift Response. It's a 2-cost white instant. It says destroy target tap creature. We have a card in Standard that does 5 damage to target either tapped or attacking. I don't remember which one. And then we have a 3-cost destroy target creature at instant speed. And we have a 2-cost destroy target tap creature at, so basically, this is the best version of what we've seen. We've seen, the downside of 2-cost destroy target type creature at sorcery speed. We've seen it cost 1 more and still be an instant. We've seen it only deal a certain amount of damage. But this just is the best version of it that we have in Standard. So I don't see this really seeing play, but it is pretty good, especially in Limited, where a lot of the time you are winning by swinging with big creatures. Next, we have Warden Battlement. It's a 3-cost creature wall, 0/3, defender, and when attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. Not bad in a not so powerful Standard where creatures matter more. Because right now in Standard, creatures don't matter that much. So yeah, pretty decent. Next, we have Aven Gagglemaster. It's a 5-cost white creature, bird warrior, 4/3 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature you control flying. Now, this is a card I could actually see fitting into a Azorius Flyers deck. Well, that one, I keep mentioning it. It doesn't really see play in the metagame. It is still really creature heavy, and 1 board wipe can kill it, but this does, this is a nice piece for it, so I could totally see that fitting in there. It's more of an artisan kind of deck where, most of the cards are uncommon or common. Next, we have Cancel. This is a 3-cost blue instant to counter target spell. I actually didn't know this wasn't in Standard. Obviously, you're not going to run this card in Standard because there are better cards such as Sinister Sabotage, Didn't Say Please, all of those cards that are this, but then an added effect on top of it. Next, we have Capture Sphere. It's a 4-cost enchantment aura with flash. It says enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature does an untap during its controller's untap step. So just a pin down effect. This was last reprinted in Ikoria, so this one is really just here for the limited environment. Pretty good in limited though. Next, we have Frost Breath. It's a 3-cost blue instant. It says tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Pretty good. You're disabling 2 creatures for 3 now. Compared to something like Sleep, which costs 1 more and taps all of their creatures, it's not that great, but it is an interesting addition and allows for some, your opponent thinks they can, save 2 creatures, but they really can't, and this is instant speed, which is pretty good too. You can tap them on their turn before combat. Boom, they can't attack. Then you get to swing. Then they don't untap, and then you get to swing. So because it's an instant, it is pretty good. Next, we have King Glidemaster. It's a 2-cost blue creature, human soldier, 2/1, and you can pay 3 and target creature gains flying until end of turn. So yeah, pretty decent and limited. Again, trying to get your creatures to be able to actually deal damage to your opponent. In Standard, this isn't going to see any play. Next, we have Opt. It's a 1-cost blue instant, and it says scry 1, draw a card. This is pretty generic. It's always, I believe it's been printed in every core set. But yeah, it was last reprinted in Throne of Eldraine, so this really doesn't keep it in Standard any longer than it would have been already. But if you like this art version of Opt, it is new art compared to Throne of Eldraine, so yeah. Next, we have Read the Tides. It's a 6-cost sorcery, and it says choose 1, draw 3 cards, or return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. So you're paying a lot. So draw 3 cards for 6. That's not great. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands for 6. That's not great. So you're paying extra for the versatility, which I believe, that's a fair point, but not in Standard. You want to be more concise. Are you wanting to bounce things, or are you wanting to draw cards? So and this also isn't instant. If this was instant, I would say maybe this is a decent card, but I just really dislike this card. Next, we have Roaming Ghostlight. It's a 5-cost blue creature spirit with flying, and it says when it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand, 3/2. Again, just run a bounce spell. It's going to be more efficient. I'd rather run, I don't know, the Adventure Brazen Borrower, because yes, you get a creature out of it, and you get to bounce something, but you can bounce anything. So yeah, this is just purely worse. But again, it's a common compared to a rare, so... or mythic, I don't remember. Either way, moving on, we have Rookie Mistake. It's a 1-cost blue instant. It says target creature, until end of turn, target creature gets +0/+2, and another target creature gets -2 or -0. So essentially, you can reduce increase your creature's toughness by essentially 4. So it's a very good defensive spell. I'd rather run something that gives it hexproof or protection from a color. That works out better because this isn't boosting any attack. So yeah, just run something that gives it protection, which I know isn't super blue, so I guess this works, but just God's Willing is it's a much better card. Next, we have Tome Anima. It's a 4-cost blue creature spirit, 3/3, and it can't be blocked if you've drawn at least 2 or more cards this turn. So pretty good and limited. Being able to get these, if you have a reliable way to draw more than 1 card per turn, you can consistently just keep hitting without worrying. So pretty good. Next, we have Vodalian Arcanist. This is a 2-cost blue creature, Merfolk Wizard, 1/3. Tap, add a colorless. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. So, in an Is It Drake's kind of deck, I could actually see this seeing play. It wasn't in Standard because it was last reprinted in Dominaria, and so, yeah, I can maybe see this fitting into an Is It Drake's deck, although I feel like they would rather run a spell in this slot. So, we'll have to see. Also, I feel like Is It Drake's may end up adding green just because Simic is so powerful. Next, we have Wall of Runes. It's a 1-cost blue creature wall with Defender, and when it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Very generic, very boring, very limited. Next, we have Wishcoin Crab. It's a 4-cost 2/5 crab. Again, very boring, very limited. Next, we have Alchemist's Gift. It's a 1-cost black instant, and it says target creature gets +1/+1 and gains your choice of Death Touch or Lifelink. So you need to gain life, give it Lifelink. If you need to kill the creature, give it Death Touch. This is a limited bomb. Not like a bomb, but it works as, oh, I'm dying, I need removal. It works as, my creature's going to die from this attack. Let's give it an extra toughness, essentially. And it works as, oh my, this also just works as kind of like a kill spell. So yeah, keep that in mind. This is a really great pick for limited. Next, we have Blood Glutton. It's a 5-cost 4/3 vampire with lifelink. Pretty generic, meant to support the theme of life gain within Core Set 2021. Next, we have Cage Zombie. It's a 3-cost black creature zombie 2/3. To pay 2, tap, each opponent loses 2 life. Activate this ability only if a creature died this turn. Again, limited, a way to repeatedly, I mean, obviously you need to wait for something to die, but there are things that come back in this set. Repeatedly just drain someone for 2 is really good if the board comes to a stall, so keep that in mind. Next, we have Cripple Lurker. It's a 4-cost black creature horror 3/4, and when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or discard a creature card if you do draw a card. So very interesting that you can either sacrifice a creature or discard a creature. So you're like, oh, I don't need this creature. It's late in the game. I don't need this 1-cost. I'm going to discard it or sacrifice it to draw a card. So I think this is a very good card in limited. Next, we have Deathbloom Thaliad. It's a 3-cost black creature fungus, 3/2, and when it dies, create a 1/1 green Tapperling creature token. This would be really good in a sacrificing deck, and I feel like in an older Standard, this would have fit into like a Rakdos sacrifice, but I think that they'd become so powerful that they don't need this card. They would much rather run Ministrant of Obligation, which it has afterlife 2, so you get 2 things, so yeah, this just isn't good enough. Next, we have Duress. It's a 1-cost black sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. This already sees a tiny bit of play in Standard in a black, I'm going to make you discard everything deck. But, yeah, it's already in Standard. Next, we have Fetid Imp. It's a 2-cost black creature imp, 1/2 with flying, and you can pay a black, and it gains Death Touch until end of turn. So it's Death Touch, but it's not, but also it's a flyer, so if you need to get damage through, you're more likely to, and even such, it's a flyer that can have Death Touch as well, so if they have flying blockers, it still might get through, so pretty good and limited. Again, I don't think I've said this in this video, but Death Touch is very good and limited, so keep an eye out for this. Next, we have Gloomsower. It's a 7-cost creature horror 8/6, and whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This would be what I would call a bomb. It's obviously not going to, this could win you the game, actually. You attack with it, they are at least taking 2 life and you are gaining 2 life, or they can take 8. Yeah, this is going to be really good, especially, Arena does this thing called Omniscience Draft, where you can draft cards and then everything you cast is free. This would be amazing in that, but yeah, keep an eye out for this if you need a bomb. They're probably, obviously rares are going to be the better bombs, but this is just a really big creature, and it is in the common slot, so you're probably going to see a lot of these. Next, we have Infernal Scarring. It's a 2-cost black enchantment aura, enchant creature, and when enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has when this creature dies, draw a card. So, it does replace itself, but do you really want to pay 2 mana to give something +2 power permanently? Probably not. And I get the, you know, when this dies, draw a card, that's nice, but, you know, it's just replacing Infernal Scarring. Why wouldn't you just put a better card there? Next, we have Masked Blackguard. It's a 2-cost black creature, human rogue with flash, and it says pay 3. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Pretty meh. Again, perfect for limited, though. Next, we have Mind Rot, 3-cost black sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards. Was in Core Set 2020. Don't really have much to say about it. Feel like most people know this card. Next, we have Rise Again. It's a 5-cost sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a really bad card. There are versions of this that are cheaper. There are versions of this that can hit opponents' graveyards. You know, there are so many better versions of this. So, you know, obviously in limited, where you don't have access to everything, it's not awful, but it's not a great card. Next, we have Sanguine Indulgence. It's a 4-cost sorcery, and it says this spell costs 3 less to cast if you've gained 3 or more life this turn. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, so that's pretty good. It theoretically costs 1 black. If this was fitting in a black-white life game, that essentially will always be 1 black, and 1 black, return 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand is not awful. Next, we have Skeleton Archer. It's a 4-cost black creature, Skeleton Archer 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target, so very meh. Next, we have Tavern Swindler. It's a 2-cost black creature, human rogue 2/2, and it says tap, pay 3 life, flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. This was actually reprinted, or not reprinted, but printed in Battle Bond, and it's a very, very interesting card and kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I've never seen it before. I don't think it'll see much play. You know, on average, you're just going to be breaking even. If you get really lucky, you'll gain some life, but this could be tap, pay 3 life. That's not great, although there are cards in Standard currently that care about when you pay life, so maybe that goes into that, but we'll have to see. Next, we have Walking Corpse. It's a 2-cost black creature zombie, 2/2, limited junk. Witch's Cauldron, Witch's Cauldron, a 1-cost artifact that lets you tap it to sacrifice creatures, not to be confused with Witch's Oven, which is a 1-cost artifact that lets you tap to sacrifice creatures. The difference is this one is specifically a black mana, which means it can really only fit into black decks. And then it also requires you to pay 2 mana. But the reason that is because when you sacrifice it, you gain a life and draw a card. I could totally see this going in a Rakdos Sacrifice deck. It's not nearly as good as Witch's Oven, but, you know, in some version of it, you know, you get to draw cards, gain life. It does cost mana, but yeah, pretty decent. Next, we have Bone Pit Brute. It's a 6-cost creature, Cyclops with Menace, 4/5, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +4/+0 until end of turn. Not great for 6. I'd much rather just have a 6/6/6, but the Menace does make this a pretty big threat, especially if you can give it haste. It's an 8/5 with Menace. That's a lot of damage in limited. Again, most of what I'm saying here is in limited, so if I don't say in limited, just think, if it's most of these are common, so most of the time I'm talking about limited unless I say otherwise. Next, we have Burn Bright. It's a 3-cost red instant. It says creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. So just a big pump. This can win you the game. If your opponent's like, haha, you swung out, I'm going to win next turn, I'm just not going to block, then you can boost all your creatures, and then you win. So pretty good in those scenarios, not great in others. Next, it's Crash Through, a 1-cost red sorcery, and it says creatures you control gain trample until end of turn, draw a card. That draw card is really nice. You know, the trample, you don't really need, like, trample's nice, but it is a sorcery, so your opponent sees it coming, so it's not like, you know, you can do this as an instant. If you could, this would be a lot better, but it's just overall kind of meh. Next, we have Destructive Tampering. It's a 3-cost red sorcery, and it says choose 1, destroy target artifact, or creatures without flying can't block this turn. So essentially only flying creatures can block, which is nice. Next, we have Furra of the Bitten. It's a 1-cost red enchantment aura, and it says enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has and attacks each combat if able. So you can put this on your creatures to make them bigger. You can put them on your opponent's creature to make them attack. A very versatile card, and it only costs 1 red, so this is pretty good and limited. Next, we have Goblin Wizardry. It's a 4-cost instant, and it says create 2 1/1 red goblin wizard creature tokens with prowess. So, you know, just creating, you know, at instant speed, being able to create blockers, that can really throw off your opponent, and it has prowess, so they can become more than 1/1, so not bad. Next, we have Hobble Fiend. It's a 2-cost red creature devil 2/1 trample. Pay 1 to sacrifice another creature, put a counter on it. Not great clearly could go in a Rakdos Sacrifice deck, but would not go in probably the most powerful versions. Next, we have Onaki Ogre, 3-cost, 4/2. Next, Pitchburn Devils. It's a 5-cost creature devil, 3/3, and when it dies, it deals 3 damage to any target. Too expensive for a sacrifice deck. It's kind of just here for limited, where it's like, I have a big creature, big-ish, and if you kill it, you're going to be punished. Whether I'm going to kill your creature, I'm going to hit you with it, but I'd rather just play a 5/5 for 5. You know, it's, yeah, I'd just rather, yeah, you know, the amount of damage that 3 damage is going to do really isn't going to change anything. I'd rather just have more damage on the creature. Next, we have Scorching Dragonfire. It's a 2-cost red instant. It says Scorching Dragonfire deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. So pretty decent. It's a lightning bolt, but it can't hit players, but it also exiles things. So it's not awful. Next, we have Shock. It's a 1-cost red instant. Shock deals 2 damage to any target. So this is actually the first time in a while that we've seen this art of Shock. Most of the time it's been, like, I believe, the Kaladesh version. And I kind of like this version. Not bad. Obviously, Shock is just always going to be in Standard. Next, we have Spellgorger Weird. It's a 3-cost red creature weird 2/2, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. There's a sub-theme of non-creature spells, so you know, that makes a lot of sense to be in the set. And it is a reprint from War of the Spark, so it keeps it in Standard. Next, we have Sure Strike. It's a 2-cost red instant. It says target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Pretty good combat ambush. You know, someone thinks they're going to trade. Someone thinks that they're just going to get their creature. This is essentially +3/+3 unless, you know, your creature doesn't kill the creature. Then it's only +3/+0. So, not bad. Next, we have Thrill of Possibilities. It's a 2-cost red instant. It says that it's an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card, and then draw 2 cards. This has been printed in Throne of Eldraine, Theros Beyond Death, and now here. So it seems like it's their new favorite card. Next, we have Turn to Slag. It's a 5-cost red sorcery. It says it deals 5 damage to target creature, destroy all equipment attached to that creature. Okay, this is way too expensive for a red deck in Standard, and in Limited, there isn't enough equipment. So I don't see what the purpose of printing this card is, unless it signifies that we are going to an equipment-based plane soon. Next, we have Turret Ogre. It's a 4-cost red creature ogre warrior, 4/3 with reach, and when it enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Not bad. A 4/3 for 4 that also can ping things. Not bad for Limited. Next, we have Unleash Fury. It's a 2-cost red instant. It says double the power of target creature until end of turn. I would rather give it +1/+1 and double strike, because that involves first strike, but if you put this on a double striker, or you put this on a first striker, this is not bad. Next, we have Gnarled Sage. It's a 5-cost green creature treefolk druid with 4/4 with reach, and as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, it has +0/+2, and has vigilance. Just meh, supporting the drawing your second card each turn in Simic theme. Next, we have Hunter's Edge. It's a 4-cost green sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So it's a removal spell. It's a boost spell all in one. Pretty decent and limited. Again, most destroy effects or fight effects are pretty good and limited. Next, we have Life Goes On. It's a 1-cost green instant. You gain 4 life. If a creature died this turn, you gain 8 life instead. Spells that just gain you life are just generally bad. If this said draw a card at the end, I would say, yeah, that's pretty good. You want to just throw that in a deck, but this just isn't worth it. Next, we have Ornery Dilophosaur. Whatever. 4-cost green creature dinosaur 2/2 with Death Touch, and when it attacks, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So a 4/4 for 4 with Death Touch. Why do you need a 4/4 for 4 with Death Touch when you could either play a 4/4 or a 1/1 with Death Touch? I have no idea. You know, my point is you don't need it to be a 4/4 if it has Death Touch. It just feels kind of conflicting. I'd rather just play a 4/4 for 4 or a 1/1 Death Toucher for 1. Next, we have Portcullis Vine. It's a 1-cost green creature plant wall 0/3 with Defender, and you can pay 2 and tap it and sacrifice a creature with Defender to draw a card. In a Defender or Manders deck, that's pretty decent. It can also sacrifice itself, so it essentially says pay 2, tap, sacrifice it, draw a card. So if it's going to die, you might as well. So pretty good for Limited, actually. At first I saw this, I was like, meh, but now I kind of like it. Next, we have Return to Nature. It's a 2-cost green instant. It says, choose one, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard. This, I would almost say, is mainboardable in Standard. Now, obviously, it was last reprinted in Theros, so this isn't new. But, like, destroying artifacts, yes, that can happen. You know, Embercleave, any of that. Destroy target enchantment, Cavalcade of Calamities. I know I'm just picking on mono red here, but exile target card from a graveyard, that is almost relevant in every single game in the current state of Standard, that I would almost say this is mainboardable. Next, we have Run Afoul. It's a 1-cost green instant. Target opponent sacrifices a creature with flying. Now, at first, I was like, this is really bad. But then I thought about it. I'm like, ooh, what is happening right now? Like, what is a deck that's kind of annoying but not great? Oh, you know, enchantments. You know, putting in a bunch of enchantments on Paradise Root or mutating Paradise Root a bunch. And what do they always do? They always make it fly. And so a lot of the time that's their only flyer, so this does kind of get around that. Now that is a very, very narrow use, but I actually really like this card. Next, we have Cetacean Training. It's a 2-cost green enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. It gets +1/+0 and has Tremble. This was last reprinted in Theros, and it's all just kind of meh. Next, we have Snare Spinner. It's a 2-cost green creature spider with reach, and when it blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end turn. So it's a 3/3 for 3, or 3/3 for 2 with reach if it's blocking a flyer. Otherwise, it's just a 1/3. Again, just kind of meh. Next, we have Titanic Growth. It's a 2-cost green instant. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Again, just keeping this in Standard. Next, we have Track Down. It's a 2-cost green sorcery. It says scry 3, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or land card, draw a card. So you're essentially scrying 3ing, draw a card, but you get to kind of pick what you're drawing, but it is revealed to your opponent. So this is a very, very interesting card, and I actually really like the design of it. Next, we have Thrashing Bronodon. It's a 3-cost green creature dinosaur, 3/4, and you can pay 1, sacrifice it, and destroy target artifact or enchantment. Again, keeping it in Standard. Next, we have Skyway Sniper. It's a 1-cost green creature elf archer with reach, and you can pay 3, and it deals 1 damage to target creature with flying. Again, just kind of meh. Alrighty, moving on from all the Wooburg cards, we have Twin Blade Assassins. It's a 3 black-green creature elf assassin, and at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, draw a card, and stuff 5/4. This is really awful. I'd rather play Midnight Reaper, where for every creature that's dying, I'm drawing a card, but I guess in Limited, this isn't awful. You also don't lose life, so. Next, we have Chrome Replicator. It's a 5-cost artifact creature construct, 4/4, and when it enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more non-land, non-token permanents with the same name as one another, create a 4/4 colorless construct artifact creature token. So, it's a 5-cost 4/4 that maybe is actually 5-cost 2 4/4s. That's not awful in Limited. Most artifact creatures are pretty bad. Next, we have Epitaph Golem. It's a 5-cost creature golem, artifact creature golem. Pay 2, put target creature from your graveyard on the bottom of your library, 3/5. Don't know why you'd want to do that unless you have a way to shuffle your library a lot. So yeah, this is kind of meh. It's better in other formats. Next, we have Forgotten Sentinel. It's a 4-cost artifact creature golem, 4/3, and when it enters the battlefield tapped. See, the other thing was a 5-cost 4/4, and this one's a 4/3 for 4, but it enters tapped. So that one actually wasn't that bad when you compare it to this awful piece of garbage. Next, we have Prismite. It's a 2-cost artifact creature golem. Pay 2, add 1 mana of any color to 1. So you're turning 2 mana into 1, but it's mana of any color. This isn't great, but like if you're generating infinite mana, you can now generate infinite mana of any color. So not awful. I mean, it is awful, but it's in those janky situations, it's great. Next, we have Short Sword. It's a 1-cost artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +1/+1. Equip 1. Meh. Next, we have Silent Dart. It's a 1-cost artifact. Pay 4, tap, sacrifice Silent Dart. It deals 3 damage to any target. Again, meh. Again, a lot of these cards are meh because they can fit any color, so you have to be careful. For instance, this one, a 3-cost artifact creature, Thopter, flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. It does replace itself, which is nice, but this isn't going to see it play anywhere except maybe Artifact and Historic, but that's highly unlikely. Also, it's already an that was already an option for Historic, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Either way, yeah, just meh. Next, we have all of the, Lifelands. These were last reprinted in Ikoria, so it's kind of weird to see them reprinted here, but whatever, it's fine. Next, we have Forest. This is Garruk's Forest. Thought I'd just show you that. And that's it. Oh my, this has been a long video. So again, that was the last of all the spoilers. I originally debated, do I cut out all the junk? But I thought I'd let you guys know that, what is in the set. You know, a lot of it was just kind of, this is for limited, this is for limited. And if you stuck through this video, thank you. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think, of course, at 2021 as a whole in the comments down below. See you guys next time. Bye.